So I am Jörgen Andersson. I am a farmer. Let's see what the clicker is doing. Is that? Oh, that's me. And that's a colleague, a dear colleague, now passed away, of mine. But we were working together for a good many years. So I am a farmer. I'm originally from this area, not far away from Stockholm, in Västmanland. I've been living now in Jämtland for the past 27 years. I grew up with cows. I grew up with one of those farms that the government decided not to have any cows back in the 60s. So we went all plant-based at that time, doing all the grains. So in my growing up as a kid, farmer taking part of the work, it was all growing grain. And I, at the time, oops, did I do something? Oh, I guess it's okay then. Put it there. Or maybe it's on some kind of timing thing. You take that timing. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so my growing up was the cows. They went away when I was like 6 or 7 years old, and then we went all into driving tractors, growing grains. That was my thing. So I would win over any of you in plowing competitions. So I used to be in the Swedish championships for that. It's doing it. So I think it's actually, can we just take that down to take away the time thing on this thing? How do you do that?
It's doing that for yours.
This is, so I think it's something about how it shows. Here it is. Oh. Current slide. Is that better? Let's go back to Egypt to something else. Go even there. We can do that as well. You've already seen it. So, okay. So what I experienced, even though I didn't know it, was the deterioration of the soil during the time as the animals left the scene. And we went into grain. We were supposed to be exporting grain. That was sort of the policy of the time. And so, but I didn't think of it at that time. But coming back to it lately, I've been sort of became aware of the destruction of the soil from not having animals as a part of the agriculture. So, and this is what I'm doing now. We have been starting this company, which is sort of an experiment of bringing the consumer and the producer together in a joint venture. This fjällbete thing. I don't have time to tell you more about that. Some of our animals, and grazing is possible in wintertime as well. Animals are well adapted to be outside a lot. I will just push forward, and I would like to say something about my vision. And that is a vision that we are living now in Anthropocene. Yeah. So this was a previous civilization, and they left some pretty cool monuments after that. And what monuments are we going to leave? Because we are now one civilization on the whole planet. And what are our monuments going to be? And I would like to suggest that to be the healthiest, the most vital ecosystems ever seen on the planet should be our monument to sort of to lead or to show for, because that's what they did not do. They destroyed the soils. They built cool pyramids, but they destroyed the soils. That's what they did. So I think we should do it better this time. They didn't know as much, and they were not as powerful as we are. And Anthropocene is a very cool time because we are in charge, whether we like it or not, but we are. So let's make this planet, this ecosystem, the ecosystems of the planet, more vital and more thriving than ever before, ever seen. That will be my suggestion as a vision. So, biggest problems calling for attention would be underperforming ecosystems, because that's what we got right now. That is a major problem. We have as well inequality being a major problem. We have wasteful management being as well. But right now I'd like to focus on the first one. It's a really pressing issue of underperforming ecosystems. Symptoms from that problem is things like climate change, and of course wars and social unrest as well. Climate change is not a problem, it is a symptom of the problem being underperforming ecosystems. So, and I will move fast, I hope you tag along on this. This is the definition of regenerative agriculture. Enabling highest imaginable vitality of ecosystems by effectively satisfying human needs. So you have to take that in a little bit. So if you are now, how many farmers are out there? None. Okay, just checking. So I'm the farmer and you are the crowd that we farmers are feeding. But if you are not participating in how we are doing the agriculture, making sure that we're doing it right, making sure that we're doing it in a way that enables the highest possible vitality of ecosystems, we will fail. So you will have to step up, get in the game and understand more about what farming is about, so that we can do it together in a good way. So highest imaginable, is there a pointer there? No? Oops, it's not. Anyway, 100 up there, that will be the highest imaginable level, and 0 is, of course, a pretty dead ecosystem. And where we are today is somewhere here in general. We are way down on this scale, and we have done it. We have we are destroying the ecosystems, and agriculture is one of the most important, most powerful ways of keeping nature from functioning. And me as a farmer telling you that, me as a farmer learning that I used to be good at preventing photosynthesis and destroying biodiversity. That was the game I was in. So, but I would like to you see as well that the potential for improvement is enormous. That's a takeaway message. So I'm a part of the Savory Institute, and one of the things that we are doing is that we are now doing something called ecological outcome verification. That is now products being labeled that the ecosystems are improving. So you buy a product, and we have, I am organically certified in my farming, and I take no pride in that because that doesn't really tell anything. But this label tells that the ecosystem, the landscape, is improving while we are making this product. So it's not about being less harmful, it's about making it better. That's possible. That's what comes in within reach when we are using the classic economy instead of the neoclassic economy. We have the land, and you have the capital, and you have the labor. Today we are living in the neoclassical only labor and capital, So we need to realize that nature is the foundation for everything. So that's super important. And I'm a very proud part of this global network. And we are now 40 hubs, and I'm leading the Nordic Hub here in Northern Europe. Europe is really not much happening. We've got some really good friends in Turkey and in England. And people are coming on board now, but most of the things are happening in Africa, Mexico, South America, Australia. So there's quite a few places where it's happening more, but not really in Europe yet. So here's an image of a pretty vital ecosystem. This is the kind of symphony that goes on. And what we need to understand is the role of the grazing animals as being, if you take them away, if you were to take away all the worms from the soil, you realize that's not longer soil. That doesn't stay a soil. If you take away the grazing animals from the land, it's no longer a soil in the same way. So they are a vital part of a vital system. They just cannot be taken away without having a malfunctioning system. I will just hurry on. So here's an underperforming ecosystem, and since it is Africa, we in Europe should take the blame for the kind of underperformance. This could be as green and lush if we only manage the resources right. But this is as well an ecosystem in crisis. This is what I used to be good at, plowing, driving the tractor and everything. But this is an underperforming ecosystem performing at a way lower level than it could do. So if I were to drive that tractor, I can visit the land a couple of times during the year, if I only have enough diesel and some chemicals and some stuff, some fertilizer, and then I can produce like oats that I can sell to the industry for 2 crowns a kilo. And as you know, now we have the Oatly product. We are selling that oat for 200 crowns a kilo in the package of the so-called oat milk, while the farmer gets 0.2 crowns. So there's only 1% left to pay for the diesel, and 99% stays with the middleman. And that's not really a good way of sort of building that vitality of ecosystems. So I need to explain to you, to the left side of the fence, there will be animals grazing. Too few animals, too long time, are destroying the land. To the right of the fence, more animals, only and mimicking nature. So we are doing the job of the predators, keeping the animals bunched and keeping them on one place for only 1 day or so. And then they move on to the next place, leaving the grass to recover. So when we are doing the very complex work of keeping the right animals on the right place at the right time and for the right reason, we are able to improve productivity enormously, or we can destroy. So it's our management of the land and of the animals that is the difference between total destruction and flourishing ecosystem. So here is how bad it can, this is the kind of destruction you can do with animals. This is Tanzania. So having cows overgrazing the land to the point where it's really just bare land. And then comes the rain, and the rain will just take that soil with it. And these are some of the most beautiful soils in the world. You can see the dark color and the depth of the soil. So this is terribly destructive. But those very same cows could have been used in a way that that soil would have received and held all that water. So you heard about Mozambique, the terrible the typhoon, and Queensland before that. So we have farms in Queensland that were able to take all that water and keep it in that land, even though it was 700 millimeters in a week. So properly managed land doesn't enable the flood to go like it did. And in Australia it killed like 500,000 cows, etc. So our management is the difference between destruction or vitality of ecosystem, and that's a crucial message. There's nothing wrong about cows, it's management. Same thing with oil and things, it's how we manage our resources that is the difference. And that's where the soil goes. So that's our children's soil, now destroying the waters and the ocean. And it's been put there by animals or diesel. Doesn't really matter which way we use to destroy. It's destruction. It's a lot about the roots, you know. So here we have the grains, 1-year plants, and we have trained these grains to have very poor root systems. So you see there's sort of no roots in here. And the perennial grasses have that kind of root system, and you can just, you realize the difference. Being a farmer, I thought of roots as the way for the plant to get nutrients from the ground. I didn't realize that roots are as much, or maybe even more, to provide energy from the sun to the life in the soil. So that's what the plants are doing. And they're doing it more when they're being grazed. The grazing animals are the reset button. So the plants are getting high, grazing animals moves in, and they harvest without any cost of diesel, etc. And that kicks the system going for those plants to feed the life in the soil, the microbes and everything, with the sugars from the sun that they've been storing in the roots. So it just makes that system work. So there's no need for fertilizers, no need for chemicals, simply mimic and respect nature. It works beautifully. So here's one of our rock stars of regenerative agriculture, Gay Brown. So, and he was showing his 5 principles. Keep the soil covered. Public enemy number 1 is the drop of rain on bare soil. That's a terrible thing. Minimize soil disturbance. You don't do you hardly need a tractor. You do need a tractor, but it's not as much as we are used to. So my skills as a good plower is just pretty much useless. diversity, diversity, diversity. That's the thing. And keep that life going in that soil. You can keep it even through winter if you have a good soil and a good cover on the soil. He's in North Dakota. It's pretty cold. So it's just to prolong the season where the life can go on in the soil. And integrate livestock, of course. So the cows are working in the agriculture, not sending any invoice. So this kind of crop here is a diversity of many things. So he would grow that crop to keep it for the winter. The cows are out grazing all winter, and they will be eating and trampling that, leaving it totally flat for the next spring, so then they can seed directly into that. So let's see now, there's some stuff missing. So he got 4 times the amount of carbon in his soil. Maybe you know when we had this climate topics in Paris, we got to learn that 4 per thousand. 4 promille på engelska.
4 by 1,000.
Yeah, 4 by 1,000 more carbon in the soil equals the increase of carbon in the atmosphere. But he has done 400% on his soil. So you get the numbers, you get the sort of proportions. He's got 10 times more nutrients in his soil. He's not adding any fertilizer whatsoever. His capacity to receive and hold water is complete. It doesn't matter how much it rains, it will stay in his soil. He can even get out with a tractor if he wants to on the land the same day as the rain, while the neighbor is just having a complete disaster with the water flowing, running off the land. And when he's producing corn, this guy, Gabe Brown is his name, he needs $2 a bushel for covering his costs, while his neighbor doing the conventional way with the fertilizer and the chemicals and the stuff, he needs $5 per bushel to pay for all the costs. So he's just getting away from costs and increasing his yield as well. So it's the way to go. And he is getting into vegetables and things. There's a lot of stuff to tell. How am I doing on time? When I was starting, how much time did I have?
Keep going.
Keep going? Yeah, okay. I'm going to tell you a few more things. The biggest single ecosystem of the planet used to be the mammoth steppe. That's what is today the taiga and the tundra. So this is sort of what it looked like. There was an incredible amount of animals. The succession of the ecosystem, it wants to go from bare ground towards forest. It goes to forest if there is enough rain. And we have enough rain, so this land wanted to go towards forest, as it did when those animals disappeared. So those animals kept that forest sort of in balance. It tried to be forest, sometimes there was some forest, and then the animals reduced it and was sort of that kind of equilibrium, which is a tremendously productive ecosystem. So that will be sort of a natural way of seeing our ecosystem on this place where we live. So there's this Russian scientist who is estimating, and a few other guys as well. So one estimation is that we had 1,500 million tons of wild land-based animals, 50 kilo plus, back in those days, before Homo sapiens left Africa. And as we left Africa, 100 out of 200 big families of animals just vanished. We had a megafauna extinction. So today, we have some 300 million tons of people. We got 100 million tons of pigs. We're not doing, those pigs are just, they just shouldn't be there at all because they're doing no good to the ecosystem, the way they are kept. We have some cows, we have some sheep, we have some goats and horses. The wild animals are not even one. To get one, we needed to take the whales from the sea as well, the surviving whales. So we have pretty much just destroyed totally the number of animals that we used to have. And those cows are kept in a way that they are not allowed to participate in the ecosystem the way, because cows are ecosystem builders, they build soil. They are the most useful animal we can have that way. So let them do the job, and we need to have more of them, of course. So when we do this, when we bunch the cows together, this is in Africa, when we bunch them together, we can double the numbers. We need to double the numbers to keep up with the grass that comes as soon as we are no longer letting those cows just walking around and preventing growth as they generally do. And as they start to be managed in the right way, the grass will come back very fast. So we need to double the number of cows, maybe again and again as well. And as that grass comes back, the wildlife comes back as well. And it comes quick. So we get the wildlife to live together with the livestock. And we get the soil back, we get the life in the soil back, we get the streams, the water to flow all year round. So it's just an incredible, as soon as we stop destroying and just let nature and help nature, it just bounces back. It brings you a lot of hope when you see it happen. So I suggest you go and see it for yourself. You know? It's a super cool thing. Yeah, well, I guess I just want to give you some, since climate is something people are thinking a lot of, just to give you the proportions of things. With 3% more photosynthesis net, that equals the yearly increase of atmospheric carbon. That's 3% more photosynthesis. This is mathematical, you know, it's just to give you what is the size of nature? What can nature do? That's what I'm trying to tell you. 6% net, which is, if you saw Gay Brown a while ago, this is a piece of cake, you know, still. But 6% more for 2 generations equals the total atmospheric increase of carbon. So the potential of nature is just ginormous. So we just need to let it happen. And there's no way we can do that without the animals. 10% more carbon in plants and soils equals all fossil fuels ever burnt. So one way of looking at it is that excess carbon in the atmosphere is a chance for the first farmers to get the thickest soil as soon as you start doing it. You're very silent. Maybe I should stop a while.
Oh, it's because you're good.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think I stop here a while and see. I want you to tell me what time limit do I have now, because I wasn't clear on that.
It's probably we should get to questions.
Let's do some questions now. Good then. Okay.
Yeah, I have 2 questions actually. The first one is regarding this picture.
Yeah.
I haven't